My name is Nafi Karim. I am a university honors student majoring in business administration and philosophy. Currently conducting research on leadership for the Department of Psychology, as well as being named to be part of UCR's leadership board. My dad was raised by a single father, and a single mother. My dad was raised by a single mother in the villages of Bangladesh. Taking great pride in his education, he tutored his classmates just to pay for college. He took every opportunity and scholarship to get out of the village. While not rich, he became one of the most respected individuals for ensuring the progress of his community. He saw value in the empowerment of his community, giving back and educating the less fortunate. And after his untimely death, those values became ingrained in me. And that is why I do what I do so passionately. My background and the obstacles I have overcome has empowered me to identify with the various cultural values and challenges that many of us face. My time here has been defined by service. First, as an ASUCR Local Affairs Director, I was part of the effort to reduce crimes on campus last year. As your current ASUCR Senator, I'm working to bring student-owned housing to campus and efforts to keep our tuition low.
Yeah.
I envision a campus full of pride and a student-centered community. Let's not discuss change, but take charge by bringing progress on the issues that affect our community. Progress is taking campus to downtown. Progress is ending the school to prison pipeline. Progress is not having to wait 3 hours to register for classes. I am the only presidential candidate with actual presidential experience as the founding father of Kappa Sigma. As their leader, I empowered over 70 men to do over 6,000 hours of service. As your leader, I will continue to empower the students to bring lasting change to our campus. Pride is on your side. Progress is on your side. Empowerment is on your side. And I, Nafi Karim, am on your side.
Thank you, Nafi. And just to repeat, with all the answers, candidates only have 3 minutes to answer them. From now on, if you surpass the 3 minutes, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to take the microphone from you, just to make it fair for everybody. And lastly, we have Sean Famion, the presidential candidate for A Better Choice, also known as ABC Party. So tell us a little about yourself and your party, Sean.
ABC! ABC! ABC!
Thank you, everyone. My name is Sean Famion. I'm a fourth-year chemical engineer. Now, granted, engineers aren't really represented in this crowd very much, but I'm here to represent everyone. My passion for this campus has grown ever since I was a little child. When I was 5 years old, I took swimming lessons at the pool right behind this hub. The hub wasn't even here. There was a clear shot to the bell tower. I have grown with this campus and this community. So what does that mean? I'm a Riverside native, okay? I live up the street from the school. The success of this campus directly affects me and my community. I am here with the ABC Party, which stands for A Better Choice. We are here to bring 3 things: value, voice, and vision. Okay? Value. We want every student to understand where their money is going to. Too often do students come to the ASUCR table and say, where does my money go? Every club on this campus should know where their money is going and should be able to have access, free access to that. Next is voice. Voice is the most important. We have 18,000 students on this campus. The only way that students can come to ASUCR right now and voice their concerns is at Senate meetings at 6:30 p.m. That is not friendly to the commuter public. We need to have programs so students can have their voices heard. We had a Meet the Senate event a couple of weeks ago, okay? And students came out and they wrote up hundreds of concerns on the whiteboard. Why can't we have more events like that? Why can't every student have access to have their voice heard? These suggestions are not only helpful to ASUCR, these are suggestions that senators can work on, that ABC will strive to work for. The last one is vision. Vision was my way of giving back to everybody as well, because it allows them to show their own passion and allows them to have their own definition of what vision is. My vision for this campus is to have UCR have a more prominent role in the Riverside community. Housing ordinances do not need to be getting passed without the student voice being heard. ABC is here to make a difference. ABC, a better choice, is here to have your voices heard. We have a vision for this campus, and we want you all to support us. Together, we can do this. Thank you.
Moderator for today, Colin Barkovich from the Highlander. He's going to be leading the debate. Just as a reminder to the candidates, you have 3 minutes to answer each question. Please direct your answers to Colin and not to each other or the audience. Please direct all answers to Colin. And I'm going to go ahead and let you get started.
Go Colin!
Thank you very much, Senator Darmani. I'd like to say, first of all, thank you for everybody who showed up and is willing to hear the very first ASUCR presidential debate for the 2014 election year. And special thanks to everybody who's listening to KUCR's recording on this on KUCR and watching the Highlanders live stream at youtube.com/UCR Channel H. As Niley said, I'm going to be asking the presidential candidates a couple of questions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond to the question. And I think without further ado, we're going to get started. So the first thing I want to hear from each of you in turn, I'm going to start with Executive Vice President Armando Saldana, is why do you want to be ASUCR president?
That's a good question. Is it on? Yeah. Okay. There. That's one. Okay. That's okay. So where can I begin? One, I come from undocumented parents. So my parents were at one point when they migrated to the United States, they had a vision, they all had a dream. And that was to succeed in this country, right? This nation is known as the nation for success and opportunity. When I was raised by two parents, I understood the struggle to get through education. There was a particular reason why, until this day, I have 3 jobs in order to pay for the education that I have currently today. It's not cheap, it's not affordable, it's not accessible, but the one thing that I can tell you all is that no one, till this day, has been doing what they should have been doing to begin with, and that was to fight for affordability. And when I mean no one, I mean the student voice all can agree that education is not affordable. And we've voiced our opinions, we've said it countless times, but it is time that all the UCs unite to bring this issue to the table. So it's not just one campus, it's not 2, it's not 3, but it's all the entire UC campus. And my reasoning for running as president is that I really, really want to grant everyone empowerment I want to unite our campus, unite our student programs. I want to make people want to come UC Riverside, but most importantly, I want to make sure that it's affordable for not just us, but for everyone who has a dream and who has a vision and who wants to get an education, because everyone should be united on this. So that's it.
Senator Karim.
I want to run for ASUCR president because I have a vision. I envision a campus full of pride, real progress, and empowerment. Pride. How will we instill pride? By creating a student-centered community through the student org housing. We will expand on the successful Wednesday Nooners program by installing our time, a gap on Wednesdays from 12 to 1, so that our students and commuters can actually engage with the campus community. We will keep expanding on that Nooners program by having exhibition games with athletes so that we have school spirit. We will have our gear for everybody. What will that be? We will give UCR gear to all incoming freshmen and upperclassmen who attend campus events. We will have progress by integrating the community to the campus so that commuters feel more engaged and UCR students have a reason to stay in Riverside. We will empower the student body by having a cultural week of diversity festival so that each of the gender and ethnic programs can highlight and showcase their diversity. We will make sure that the student voice is heard by cutting the bureaucracy out of student government and streamlining it so that it works for you.
Senator Columbia.
Thanks, Al. So why do I want to run for president of UCR? My mom is Muslim and my dad is Jewish. I have grown up with diversity in my life. I came to the school as an incoming first year and was instantly inspired by my orientation leader, Cameron Tepper, never forget the name, to get involved on this campus. I did just that. That year I applied to be orientation leader and I was accepted, fortunately. As an orientation leader, you're literally trained to know this campus, to love this campus. It is put upon you to make this campus your own and to have that translate into the incoming first-year students so they come onto this campus and they are also inspired. After this, I worked at the Well for 2 years. The Well is a part of Costo Hall. Costo Hall represents so many students on this campus and they do so many different programs for them. After that, I worked in Common Ground. I did that for 2 summers, Common Ground. This university is based on diversity. Common Ground is just that. I was able to facilitate conversations between incoming first-year students about diversity. But where does this all go after orientation? You're just another one of the 18,000 students. Your voice is not heard. ABC, me, as president, I'm here to make sure your voice is heard. That you are not just one of the other 18,000 students on this campus. Every student should feel that they are a part of something on this campus. ASUCR is the perfect avenue to make that happen. Thank you.
I wanted to move on to the next question, and I wanted to mention that all of you in your candidate statements have said that you wanted to seek input from the student community and from the UCR at large. And if you are elected ASUCR president, what specifically would you do to improve communication between ASUCR and the student body? And I'm going to start with Senator Famian.
Perfect. I'd be happy to answer this. So voice, like I said before, is a part of our platform. So how would we do that? A couple weeks ago, we had a Meet the Senate event put on by the Freshman Fellows of the President's Office. We had that whiteboard right over there at this event. I was there, I was talking to students, And every single one of them wrote something on that board that they think that they should change on this, that we should change on this campus, that ASUCR should change on this campus. Why is it that we have only had one of these events on this campus? Why can't we have this event twice a month, once a quarter at least, so students can come and express their concerns? They wrote up hundreds of things on the board. Hundreds. We didn't even have any room. We had to erase the title on the board so more students could voice their concerns. Let's have more of these events. Let's reach out to more students. We had maybe 100 to 200, maybe 300 students come out to this event. How many students come per year to the Senate meetings? Maybe 100. That is not right. So we need to have more of these events, more of these outreach events, more of these events where we can have students come and provide their input to us. And we will do that through Meet the Senate events, through ASUCR actively seeking out what students want on this campus, doing class reps every single month. We need to have action. We need to have action on this campus in regards to having the voices of the students heard. Thank you.
Executive Vice President Saldana.
Can you repeat the question, please?
As if you are elected ASUCR president, what would you do to increase communication between the ASUCR presidency and the students on campus?
This is actually a very good question. So I had brought this up to my executive cabinet, my current executive cabinet within my party, and I had mentioned to them that one of the things that is very important is to make sure that administration is involved with everything that you are involved in. So I had we took some time to think about creating a task force, potentially creating a task force in which we had a representative, at least one or two, at every club meeting or every great meeting, to which they would articulate and pass that message on to us, and we could have them sit on the board. And we want to create a board where we can have the Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs and other Vice Chancellors who can potentially address our concerns right then, right there, so that we wouldn't have to wait a week, a month, or a year later to hear back, why isn't this being done? Why can't we have Greek Row? Why can't we lower tuition? Why is it so hard to add classes when you're scheduled to register at 11 a.m. and the site crashes and you can't add the course in order to graduate within 4 years? So that's essentially, it's getting the student voice and empowering the student voice. And the only way that that can happen is if the entire ASUCR organization leaves the office, because we want to expand. We don't want to just be a simple office on the second floor. We want to be more than just an office that sits in the hub. We want to be sure that we are a group that's united and that we're reaching out and that we're showing face and that we're actually addressing the concerns of the student body.
Senator Karim.
So if you're talking about communication between administration, students, and ASUCR, it's very crucial that we actually go out to the students and ask for their input. You can't just sit in your ASUCR cubicle and wait for students to come to you during office hours. That's not practical. That's not appealing to the students. We need to go out and survey the students informally and formally through surveys. And we can't just sit there and expect that the administration will just go along with whatever you say. I have stood firm for my convictions, whether it was for Kappa Sigma, when the administration opposed it, and I don't just wine and dine with my deeds. I know who I am serving, and I stand up for my students.
Moving on to the next question. Crime around campus has been something that many students have been concerned about, and for the most recent data that's been available from the University of California Police Department indicates that there has been an overall 26% increase in violent crime from 2011 to 2012. The number of burglaries has nearly doubled in the same period. In your capacity as ASUCR president, what would you do to decrease the crime rates around campus? I think Senator Nafi Karim, if you'd like to talk about that since you were involved in that.
Yeah, so thank you for bringing that up. Last year, as the ASUCR Local Affairs Director, I was directly involved in this issue. Crime on campus was at its highest you were getting emails every day about something going on, someone being robbed. I was involved in every single meeting, advocating on the behalf of the students. We have installed new lights on Linden and Ruston so that there are more visibility and students feel safer. We have implemented more surveillance so that people are not out there being scared. Moreover, we will keep expanding on those progress by beautification of Ruston and Linden. We will introduce a gate in that area so that people feel safer and make it lit up so that it's not scary or it's not something that people feel comfortable in thinking, oh, I can just go out there and rob someone. No, it's going to be visible and you will get caught. So it won't happen under my watch.
So, as Senator Nathikram just said, he was a part of the task force that really aimed to tackle this issue. And that's great, in all honesty. Where has that task force gone? If crime is still here, as the ASUCR president, I will make sure that that task force is back. Because we can't promise all of these things. We can't promise to build this, build that, beautify this. But what we can do is do something that was already effective, which was the Campus Safety Task Force. We can bring that back, and we can make even more improvements. The point-to-point shuttle system, I guarantee you, has significantly decreased the crime rates. Now that they're on the rise again, it is imperative that we bring back this Campus Safety Task Force because it is obviously not gone. Thank you.
Executive Vice President Saldana.
So this past summer, I received an email from a member of the community, right? And the email stated, UC Riverside students are visitors. And that bothered me. The reason why is because we're not visitors. Some of us actually live here. And whether this may be a commuter school or not, we're still a part of the city. We still pay our taxes. We still contribute to the overall growth of the city. And one of the biggest things that we need to focus on is increasing the communication with the city of Riverside, working with the mayor so that it's not just UCR students, struggling to battle for safety within this community, but it's the entire community at large working together to make sure that we can provide a safe environment, not only for UCR students, but for our visitors, for young folks that joined our campus on a day-to-day basis, whether it's coming down for a conference or for a simple campus tour. It's imperative that safety is upheld on this campus. And one of the keys is communicating with our city council and making sure that the communication is there.
I'd briefly like to press on that. What specifically would you do as president to improve that communication?
So the city council, we've never, up until this year, we've showed some presence at the meetings, and I think it's very important for myself, if I were to be elected as student body president, to show presence at each of the council meetings and kind of keep them informed as to what UC Riverside students are doing and what our struggles are on our campus, being safety in this case.
Thank you very much. Some of you may know that the Chancellor recently had a task force to ascertain the reasons why UCR has a very low 4-year graduation rate. Among the UC campuses, only UC Merced ranks lower. Only 46% of UCR students graduate within 4 years. There was recently a report that came out indicating some of his proposals for how to improve that. And so I'd like to ask you as ASUCR presidential nominees what you would do to help UCR students graduate in 4 years if that's what they prefer. Senator Famian?
So I'm a 4th year right now. I'm one of those that will not be graduating this year. Okay. Now, as the ASUCR president, I will make sure that I sit on that community and I represent the community that is just like me. I come from a low-income family. I cannot afford to go to summer school. I have to come to this campus fall, winter, and spring, and that's my only option. Now, if that's part of the reason why there are no students graduating in 4 years because of the summer school, because summer school is expensive, y'all. It really is. We need to find some change there. If this task force is aimed at making sure that students are graduating in 4 years, then maybe we should reevaluate, how motivated the students are within their college. BCOE does a lot of great things. It has a very, very dense schedule, course plan. Now, one thing that is great, though, is that the advisor quality in BCOE is amazing. They make sure to send out weekly emails notifying students when the deadlines are coming for SNCing a class, whether they need it, and they help students if they need to withdraw from a course. They make sure that it's an option for you if you want to stay for a 5th year, but they push you to make sure you're here for 4 years. Now, one thing that I'm sure a lot of people can agree on is that the advisor quality needs to improve. There was one advisor for 2,000 students in the poli-sci department. That is horrible. We need to improve this and improve the quality for the students in each college. Thank you.
This is actually interesting because, as Senator Jean Fabian said, poli-sci department. I'm actually in the poli-sci department. Currently, we have one advisor, and so she sent out an email. We lost one of our advisors, and she said, "Please try to communicate with me via email. Don't try to come in person because I'm trying to, juggle thousands of students, and there's only one of me." That's a shame for our campus. That really is. After meeting with Chancellor Kim Wilcox a couple of weeks ago, we had dinner. We spoke about increasing faculty, increasing the number of advisors that we have here on campus, and increasing the budget that's allocated for each respective college. It's a shame that as a CHAS major, the opportunities to obtain some research opportunities with some professors they're very limited, or they're allocated to the honors department, and that should be available to anyone and everyone. And so one of the biggest factors is budgeting, and I think that it hasn't even been brought up to admin's concern. With this new chancellor, when I had dinner with him, I mentioned to him, I don't think it's fair that we're pushing the graduation rate to a 5th year or even 6 years, because there's some people that stay here for 6 years. We don't have the time for that. People are increasingly, day by day picking up on large debts on their student loans. And the sad part of it is that the UC campus was made on affordability, and this is not affordable.
Senator Cream?
So you want to have people graduate in 4 years, and your solution is to sit on a committee? That's not the solution. Committees are not going to solve the problem. You want to solve the problem? Offer more classes. You want people to graduate? Allow them to take the classes that they need. As ASUCR president, we will implement a track course for each of the classes that you need to take. And if you are not able to take that course, your individualized track course will be updated so it's hey, you need to take these classes next quarter. Look, not everyone wants to graduate in 4 years, and not everyone wants to graduate in 5 years. You have to allow the people to personalize their own track courses. Some people want to stay in college for longer because they want to accumulate all the knowledge and skills that they can get. Others, they have a plan for their life and they want to get to work. You have to allow that personalized track course for these individuals. Committees are not going to solve it, and just talking to administration is not going to solve it. It's about offering more classes and allowing students to take the classes that they need.
You mentioned that creating this track course. Earlier you mentioned that not enough courses are available to students. How will implementing this make sure that students have courses that are available to them?
So one, in terms of the track course, if you guys have used My EDU, it allows you to personalize a game plan for yourselves. Taking that module and implementing it into UCR's own model, you can have individualized track courses for each of the colleges. So for SOBA, they actually have a good program for incoming freshmen, which tells you quarter by quarter which courses you should be taking. First year, second year, third year. Why don't we implement that for all the colleges so that the students have an idea of what they need to take and how they need to go about it. And if it doesn't get implemented, or if they aren't able to take a course, it automatically updates. Thank you.
The current ASUCR president is Sai Patadia. I think he's here in the audience right there. He's pushed a number of initiatives in ASUCR, and all of you are currently members of ASUCR. And so I wanted to know which initiatives of his you are in support of, and which you'd like to improve on, and what new initiatives would you like to bring to the table, starting with Executive Vice President Saldana.
I would definitely support his mobile app. I do think that we have so many resources on this campus, and it's not unified. You have to struggle to look for a bunch of things. Our web is a complete mess. People don't even know that the WOW exists. That's pretty sad. So there's a lot of resources we have, and I know that one of the initiatives that he had set forth for himself at the beginning of the year, when we sat down and discussed our goals and our vision, was to create a mobile app for the entire campus, where it not only just simply stated where departments are at, but also stated what resources you can pick up. So definitely the mobile app is something that I commend Sai for working on. One of the initiatives that I would possibly improve on that maybe Sai is working on would be basically showing a larger presence with admin and getting my entire executive cabinet involved. I do know that being president, you're just one certain individual, but you do have a team of 5. And so I would potentially expand it to where my entire executive cabinet would be attending all of these meetings with admin and basically reporting to me, so that we have more student voice and more presence within administration and campus politics, if you will.
Senator Famian?
So there's a couple things that President Sai Patadia is working on. One, as Executive Vice President Armando Saldana said, is the mobile app, which will definitely improve the lives of students. Another one is saving the sea. The sea is iconic to almost every UCR student. Everyone always loves to hike to it, and it's something symbolic for us. Now, both of these projects are extremely beneficial to students, because one is the first one, which is the mobile app. It's going to improve the lives of the students and make our lives easier on campus. We're going to be able to access when the library is open. We don't have to go to the library, stand outside and say, oh, well, the library doesn't open until 1 o'clock today, and then waste our time sitting, waiting for the library to open. We will know. It's huge. One thing that President Sai Patadia and even the past president, Liam Dow, worked on was making sure that the student voice is heard. They are the face of 18,000 students when they go and they speak with administration on pressing student issues. That is the most important initiative for the president, to make sure that the student voice is heard. Thank you.
Senator Prim?
Just to clarify, so you guys aren't confused, you can check the library hours on the internet, on the library's website. You don't have to come to campus to find out if the library is open at 1 or not. But besides that, what can you improve? Well, one, Sai's app is great. It will keep us on track on the information that we need. To improve that app, we are working with the TAPS program to give it real-time parking updates, so you know what parking lots are open and where those spots are. Parking is a huge issue right now, and we need a solution. This is the solution. Thank you.
I now want to have the opportunity to ask each of you an individual question. For one question for each of you. And so I'm going to start with Armando Saldana. And what I wanted to ask is, in last year, when you ran for Executive Vice President, you wrote in your candidate statement that you would protect the student body's autonomy. Examples of how you've done that in the future when you become president, what you would do to make sure that ASUCR is autonomous from the administration?
This is a very good question. So I don't think people necessarily know, and I'm going to say this right now. We're one of the few AS campuses that has maintained their autonomy, and what that means is administration does not, they don't have a plug. They can't basically pull the plug on us. So what that means is that we work with administration. We don't work for the administration. So that's the biggest key to note. The other thing about how I've preserved the autonomy and how I plan to preserve the autonomy I've continuously worked with my executive cabinet this year and the past year, with under Sai Patadia's administration, Liam Dow's administration, is again showing the presence for the student voice. But it's not just showing the presence; it's also making it clear that we have a direction and that we're not just here for an education, but we're also here to improve the future of UCR and UCR's promise. So, being one of the things that I worked on was we definitely discussed. There was a couple of task forces that we have. A couple of meetings when Chancellor White was here, the 2020 Promise Plan, right? So we reviewed the 2020 Promise Plan, and we tried to cater to the Chancellor to where we were catering not only to his needs, but to the needs of the students, but also at the same time preserving the integrity of our institution. So I helped redefine the way senators were being held accountable. Because when I got there, senators were, they could do whatever they want. Students would go up to Senate meetings. You'd have senators on Facebook being completely ignored during Senate meetings. There was completely no accountability for the senators. And when I became EVP, and if I do become president, accountability and integrity for the entire organization would be key for me.
Senator Karim, when you ran for senator last year, you promised in your candidate statement that you would empower our students to take action and improve the campus climate. Can you provide examples of what you've done to work toward this goal?
Definitely. How have I empowered our student body? One, I have met with representatives from the ethnic and gender programs on a weekly basis to draft diversity council bylaws. This allows for each of the communities to have their own self-representation and determination. Diversity isn't about me representing other people. I cannot tell you what a queer woman of color feels, but I will work to provide her with her own voice and her own self-determination. I can't speak for other people, but I can give them the tools to speak for themselves so that each of the community's voices are heard clear and concisely.
Senator Famian, the final question is for you. When your candidate statement this year, you have said that you'll, quote, use your experience to ensure that every student feels a sense of belonging to the university and to the community. And I wanted to know what specific actions you take to make sure that UCR students feel like they're part of a UCR community.
Definitely. So, as mentioned before, voice is a part of our platform. And you asked previously, how will we get the input of the students in ASUCR, or how will we make sure that we are actively seeking out what the issues of the students are? Now, as I mentioned before, these Meet the Senate events are crucial. That is us putting ourselves out there, offering people, free pizza, free Scantrons, to come and voice their concerns to us. That is one way. Another way is making sure that every senator in every class that they have, they make sure to go to the front of the classroom and say, hey, I am your representative. I am here for you. Students need to feel a sense of belonging on this campus. How do we do that? We make sure that their problems are addressed. Not just that, we make sure that they feel like they are a part of something. Every student is a part of ASUCR, but do they feel that way? No, because we are not actively seeking them out. Also, BCOE does great things for the students, as I said before. We have computer labs for every single, the chemical engineers, the mechanical engineers, bioengineers. Why can't we have like a system where all students have these types of things welcome, like for them to access freely? BCOE has a lot of pride. Students love BCOE because we have our own chant. We need to expand upon this and bring it to the rest of the campus. We need to make sure that every student feels the sense of belonging that BCOE students feel in their college.
All right, thank you very much, all the presidential candidates. One last round of applause for all of them. Thank you very much for showing up.
Every
Colin, for moderating. Those were awesome questions. We're going to start the second portion of the questions, which were questions submitted by you, the students. We're going to have KUCR ask the questions. The difference this time is that you will have only 2 minutes to answer each question. Okay, guys? Please try to stay under that 2-minute mark. Thank you very much.
I'll try.
All right, so we're going to ask some questions that you submitted at the booth over there, and we're going to have Elliot Fong, KUCR's Elliot Fong, ask the first question.
Okay, what do you feel is your weakest characteristic and why? To what extent and how will this impact your role and duties as ASUCR president?
I guess I'll take the lead.
Okay.
My weaknesses are what makes me human. But I try to learn from my mistakes. Now, while I might make mistakes initially, I have the strongest ECAB to help me correct them. No. This isn't just me saying. The other candidates also believe it to be so. Because each of my executive cabinet members and I were asked to be on their party. And when we said no, they settled for alternative candidates. Now, how can a party call themselves a better choice when every member of their executive cabinet has been the second choice? There's a reason why we all chose this side, the best side, your side.
Go ahead, each person answers the question.
It's fine. So, I mean, I can sit here and I can respond to that, but really, we're here to answer the questions, which is, what is our weakness? I'm not going to say that people are going to come and, like, I have the support of my ECAB. That is guaranteed, okay? They will be there for me if I make mistakes. That's granted. That's why they are there. But that is not a weakness. What is my weakness? Personally, I've had a lot of weaknesses throughout my career as a student. But every time that I identify what a weakness is, I aim to fix it. For instance, one of my major weaknesses as a first year is that I felt that I could procrastinate my way through college. In high school was easy. I didn't have to study to get A's on tests. I came to college, and that was not the case. I'll tell you a story. The first class I took, first CHAS course I took actually, was a philosophy course. I got a D on my first midterm. Second midterm I took for that class, I got a B+. The final, I got an A-. That is progress. That is identifying a weakness and fixing it. Now granted, weaknesses don't necessarily go away. But as long as you strive to continue to improve that, that's when you'll be successful. Thank you.
So my weakness is basically spreading myself. So a lot of you know that I'm involved in quite a bit of things. So I'm an RA. I plan Heat is Saturday. Hopefully I see all of you there, and hopefully you all enjoy it. So I plan Heat. I'm the EVP for ASUCR. I travel around and represent the Gates Millennium Scholars under the Gates and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And that, to me, is my weakness because I try to take advantage of every opportunity, and I don't necessarily focus on one thing that I do. However, I try to make sure that I learn from that, right? And in terms of how I learn from that is basically putting together a team that's supportive. And my entire team, my entire party have been really supportive of me and of all the things that I've been involved. And even though I consider it a weakness, a lot of people say it's a strength because I do put myself out there and I do become a part of the campus community by trying to get involved and trying to understand the campus culture from different perspectives. So it's not just in the eyes of one perspective. So,
All right. Those are very strong answers about weakness. Now, we have another question submitted by you, the audience, and this will be asked by KUCR's Eduardo Valencio.
All right. So historically, universities have been the center of student activism calling for greater political, environmental, economic, and social change. How do you feel about taking a stand on controversial issues that affect our students? And if we could have somebody new started that didn't already.
I can start. So, one of our duties as elected officials is to represent the entire campus community as a whole. I agree that we should take a stance on things that are very controversial, but I also do disagree that we should marginalize or, make someone feel left out. Because at the end of the day, we're all here in the same institution, wearing the same letters, the same UCR letters, because that's the same letters that are going to be printed on our degree when we graduate. And the importance of taking a stance on political issues it's important, and I wouldn't say, let's not take a stance on it, but I would definitely make it clear that we do represent the student voice, but as long as we do not marginalize a group, and that's kept in mind, so that no one's left out, because our job is not to marginalize a specific group. And so that would be my basic, response to that.
So with my experience in regards to social, environmental, political agendas, and so on and so forth, as a senator, I was able to stand up for what I believed in, and that was me representing the students that I was a representative for. That is the job of an ASUCR senator, is to represent the people who consider you as their representative. Now, as a president, your role changes. As a president, you move from being a representative for a certain group of students into being a representative for 18,000 students. So you have to make sure that every voice is heard. Voice, voice, voice. I keep going back to this because it is so important. I think President Sai Patadia did a great job of this in the recent divestment resolution. He made sure that he stood by his job as the ASUCR president and stood as a representative for the 18,000 students. Thank you.
If you guys know me, you know that I have no problem standing up for what I know is right by reason. Now, I will not be a president of one party or one side of an issue. And I don't come from a side of an issue like divestment. So I will ensure that I stand up for the student body on both sides. I will represent and allow the students from each side to speak on their issues, but I do not have a problem on taking a stance as a president. That's what you're supposed to do. You are supposed to provide clear vision, clear direction, clear stance. That's your job as a leader.
We have, I think, time for one more question. Is that okay? And before we do that, I just wanted to, we've been asked to mention there will be a tribute to Nelson Mandela tonight between 6 and 7:15 p.m. up through a 2. It will include reading presentation as well as spoken word, poetry, and dance performances. Tribute to Nelson Mandela tonight. And now the final question presented by, or offered by you, the students here today, and this will be asked by, again, KUCR's Elliot Fong.
Okay, I will read this as it is written, word for word. As current VP CIA, I sit on 7 committees handling more than $20 million of student money. I've noticed a disproportionate representation of undergrad to faculty. What will you do to increase this ratio and plan of action if there is resistance administration?
So this is an important question. We were alluding to this earlier today, mentioning that graduation rates aren't as high as they should be and things of this nature. Now, where do we start with this? Where do we start with expressing the need for more faculty? You know, as a BCOE senator, I formed a great relationship with the dean. You know, we talked about whining and dining with the dean, but no, the dean was happy to address the concerns of students as long as he heard them. The administration is here for us, and we need to work with them. Now, granted, they may oppose, but that's just our duty as ASUCR to build a coalition of students, to bring students together, to make them feel that they are a part of ASUCR so they can come together and express the need for an increase in faculty to improve this ratio between undergraduates and faculty. Thank you.
Next. Okay. This is very simple. The idea is simple. It's going to take time to get it done, but definitely empowering the student voice, uniting this campus, right? And when I mean uniting this campus, I'm not just saying unite the students, but also unite the administration so that they also feel part of this campus, and so that they don't feel that this is a normal job where you just clock in, clock out, and then let me make my 100K salary plus or minus. Okay. And the last and final thing is understanding that we may have differences at times, whether it's a student difference versus admin difference, but there needs to be that communication. I go back to the communication with administration, and that goes back to together we can, and together we will.
So, what can we do to increase more faculty for our students? Well, we have to take action on the resolution that we have on board from my party. It calls for a review on the UC budget so that we find inefficiencies to accommodate the needs of the students. We need to revise where our money is going to and find ways so that we can actually hire more faculties. It goes back to pride, progress, and empowerment.
Woo!
I've said it before, and I'll say it again, because this is at the core of what it means to be a UCR Highlander. I have specific goals and a vision, and once I am the ASUCR president, it will get done. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, thank you to each of our candidates. You guys provided awesome answers. I think the general population got a really good idea of what you all stand for and what you all hope to achieve in your presidency. We're going to have a couple of closing things. I just want to thank again everyone for coming out, all the parties for showing support, all the candidates, pro staff, elections committee, UCR. Thanks for coming out and providing all this, this. And the Highlander for moderating, thank you very much, and the live streaming. So we're going to close up once again by thanking all of our candidates, and I'm going to bring Sandy from the Elections Committee up on stage. Also, we're going to do the raffle for the people who ask questions. We have a bunch of gift cards to give away, so if you did ask a question, go ahead and hang out. We might call your name. Oh, no name. I told you to put your names on it. First is Allison Rodriguez. Allison Rodriguez. Go ahead and claim your prize at the ASUCR tent. Second is Courtney Parker. Courtney Parker, go ahead and claim your prize over there. Next is...
I just said hi to myself. It scared me.
I can't win, that was mine. Mina Kato! Where are you, Mina? Thanks, Mina, you had a bunch of really good questions. Navin Pereira? And lastly, Kushal. I don't know how to say your last name. Alright, so Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Keep an eye out for all the rest of the events we're going to be hosting throughout this quarter and spring quarter. Keep in mind, elections are April 21st through 25th. We're going to have our next events coming up are going to be the external internal vice presidential debates and the debates between the candidates running for Senate. Thank you all for coming out. Please be respectful of the hub and everything that's out here. If you guys move stuff, please put it back. And one more round of applause for our candidates. I wish you all the best of luck in the elections this year. Thank you.
And one more time, tribute to Nelson Mandela tonight. Doors open at 5:30 p.m. It's Hub 302 from 6 o'clock to 7:15. Commemorate the life and work of Nelson Mandela. Tribute will include media presentation as well as spoken word, poetry, and dance performances. Tribute to Nelson Mandela tonight, Hub 302. Thanks for coming. Thanks to the UCR Highlander, the ASUCR, and everyone who participated. And thanks to Amy, Teresa, and Laura.